breaking the negative self-talk cycle. There's no getting away from it. We all have a little voice that never stops talking. Sometimes motivating, at times cautioning, at times mean or hopeless or defeated. This inner critic seems to have an endless stream of chatter. Yap, 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 it goes inside our heads. Now, there's nothing wrong with listening to your little voice inside, but it's a problem when it's constantly negative. Like, you messed up again. You're never going to get this right. Maybe you shouldn't even try. Those are some of the sentences that are negative that carry on in our heads. I was reading a report on this that said that 80% of our thoughts are negative. And 95% of our thoughts are repetitive. So we are all guilty of being our own worst critics that constantly listen to this inner dialogue. It's a little bully that lives inside and never stops pointing out our flaws and speaks in the language of absolutes. You always screw up. Why are you always embarrassing yourself? You're never going to get this right. See how familiar that is for all of us? Now we are harping on about why negative self-talk is a nuisance for us, but it developed as a habit for a reason. And the reason is that we all tend to remember the negative experiences more than we do the positive ones, because it helps us avoid sources of danger. Did you ever think of it like that? So negative self-talk is a part of us that is trying to protect us. It's like a warning. But when it goes overboard, it can make you hyperfixate on the mistakes you've made. And it skyrockets your anxiety, making you more likely to make another mistake and another mistake. So even though it starts out as a protective mechanism, it can keep you trapped in a cycle of negativity. So how can we get out of this trap? First, I want to remind you of what I say quite often. It's all about balance. If something is negatively affecting us, we need to do the opposite, the positive, to offset this balance. For instance, if you're noticing that you've been beating yourself for doing something wrong, first acknowledge it and then try to note something positive too. Like, find opportunities to notice even one or two things that you've done well throughout the day. Like, maybe you made someone smile, or maybe you didn't react to a rude remark. And remember to give yourself a pat on the back for doing that. We tend to think that just because one thing has gone wrong, that we are doomed to have a bad day, and that the whole of our life is going to be bad. That's the habit we are trying to break. I suggest you look at the habit right in the eye, and with kindness, say to this habit, I know you're trying to help, and because of your input, I'm aware of what I did. I'm rectifying it, and I acknowledge it, and I'm really thankful to you for pointing it out. And thank you for trying to protect me. But from now on, I'm going to do these things on my own without your help. And I will manage it. Thank you. Another thing that works for me is to go to the body awareness. Like I said earlier, use the five senses like touch the feet on the floor, notice the temperature on the skin, hearing the sounds around you, and your breath slowly coming in and out. Being conscious of body sensations in the moment can give you a nice break from unwanted stress and from this chitter chatter that goes on. It brings you right to the moment. And the last thing I want you to emphasize here is self-care. I don't mean it as the buzz that is created in the last few years, but I mean small steps that you can treat yourself with. Say a longer bath, taking care and giving attention to your skin. Take a little more of the me time. All these may appear inconsequential sometimes, but it sends a message to your subconscious that you are worthy of love and appreciation. And your thoughts will begin to reflect that over time. Bring your consciousness to this, and in a short while you will find that you have broken this stress cycle. It's easy to do. So help yourself. And goodbye for now. Stay well.
That was this week's episode for the Cellular Alchemist podcast with spiritual psychologist Ritu Malhotra. Don't forget to follow the podcast on your listening app so that when the new episode drops, you do not miss out on the chance to change your life by changing your beliefs.